Special thank you to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be once again returning to r/TrueOffMyChest, the place where people get things off their chest, and it's always a little bit full of drama. Let's get into it, shall we? So to start with, I chose a bit of a light-hearted one. I got into an argument with a resident grocery store cat. After I had gotten my hair done, I went to a small local grocery store to get some stuff to make for dinner. The resident cat that works there came up to me and started yelling at me for no logical reasoning, so I yelled back at him and told him that he couldn't throw me out because I paid my taxes. Am I the asshole for standing up to an unreasonable worker in a grocery store? Now, when I first read this, I thought that I was misunderstanding something and that maybe cat was a typo, although it was then used multiple times, or that it stood for something or was short for something, or something like that. And then Leo informed me that I'm an idiot and it's very clearly a joke and they are actually just talking about a cat. So I'm stupid. They're talking about a cat. It is exactly what it says. I'm an atheist. I am from those pure Catholic families where anything happens, you pray to God. Not that I hate God, I just stopped believing because it was hard for me. I can't say this to my family because I would be thrown out immediately and I would have no one else to rely on. I just act like a chameleon and blend in when they pray or go to church, with no one knowing I don't believe in the God they pray to. I just wanted to get this off my mind. Thank you for listening, and bye. I can totally understand how difficult something like this is, and I think it's important that everybody has their own beliefs. You know, it's not bad that someone raised Christian is no longer a Christian, or someone that wasn't raised a Christian is. Everyone is an individual. Religion speaks to different people differently, and it doesn't speak to some people at all. But I think it's really worth saying, and I know it's gonna sound harsh, but if parents can't love their child unconditionally, they don't love their child. If a parent would kick their child out for not being religious, would not love them because they aren't of the same faith, that parent didn't love them in the first place. They only loved the fact that that child was their view of what a child should be. Love is not like that. Love is supporting an individual for being an individual. It doesn't matter what religion they follow or what the political beliefs they have or anything like that. Love should be unconditional, and a parent that will kick their child out over this doesn't love their child. I really hope that things get better for OP here and that they are able to actually talk to their family about this kind of thing, but it's becoming increasingly common that things like this, their families aren't able to talk about. So there's a really hard situation for them, and I hope things get better. My brother beat me up and my mum lied to the cops to protect him. We're both adults and I'm female. My brother is humongous, much bigger than me, and unstable in a violent way, whereas I'm the depressive one. He has lived with my mum his entire life, whereas I moved out at 17 to escape the abuse I got from him. She still babies him. I'm currently at my mum's house because my relationship just ended after almost 2 decades, and she said she'd help me out while I got back on my feet. But 2 days ago, my brother started punching me in the head and face during an argument. He also hit our mum while trying to get to me. He nearly ripped off my fingernail, bruised my eye socket, and I have a huge lump on the back of my head. My mum snatched the phone away from me when I called 911, but they came anyway. When the cops arrived, my mum told them she didn't know who hit her. She and my brother told them I was suicidal. I am, but it's unrelated to the incident, and the cops took me to the hospital. I just got back today and I learned that my mum is telling people that I just went crazy out of nowhere. I'm packing now. I feel horrible. I just thought my mum would care that my brother battered me since our dad used to hit her. I thought she would try to protect me, or at the very least tell the truth, but she lied. I'm hurt, physically and emotionally. The hospital staff asked if I wanted to press charges, but if the only witness is lying, then is there even a point in trying? ETA. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. I can't reply to everyone, but I'll go through and read them in a bit. Thank you so much to everyone who cares. I've been feeling so alone, so the love is honestly overwhelming, but in the best way possible. ETA 2. I contacted my half brother, different mum, and told him about what happened. He was on my side because he is much older and remembers our dad being abusive. He said I could come live with him. I'm going to try and go tomorrow or the next day. It depends on if my mum can stop bitching long enough to give me a ride, or if I have to wait to be able to get an Uber. I'm so lucky he offered. I didn't want to move back in with my ex, and now I don't have to. And he said I can bring my elderly cat. ETA 3, I think I'm going to press charges ASAP. Thank you all for supporting me through this decision. This is once again a really difficult one. I think it's important to note the things that are going on here, okay? So this isn't defending the mum in any way, but I imagine the mum is also scared, right? If she's living with someone who is very large and very violent, it's probably absolutely terrifying for her to actually speak against him. Now, obviously things would be much more resolved if she did, because she could probably get that threat out of her own life as well. But it is utterly gross that she would allow him to assault someone and then defend him after he assaulted that person and her. I understand that she was probably scared, especially having gone through this previously, but it's not an excuse. It's not acceptable. As for the brother, I don't think I even need to say anything about him. He's just an unstable, abusive, horrible person. All in all, I really hope that OP is able to press charges and is doing much better living with their brother. I'm not sure how this has been resolved because this was only posted 19 hours ago, but I really hope things are being resolved for them. My throat is really dry. My throat is going for some reason and I don't know why. Whenever I do lots of reading, I think I put on a specific voice that my throat doesn't enjoy. My girlfriend loves my body as it is, and I never knew I needed this. Edit to say that there's a lot of great comments here with some amazing body positivity. Thank you all. Tell your partners often what you love about their body. It's always nice to hear. Second edit. The response to this post has been so positive that I am going to show it to my girlfriend so she can see how much she's helped spread some positivity. She'll absolutely love reading everyone's comments, so thank you. I'm a big hairy guy, 6'3", and I exercise regularly through walking and cycling, so I'm healthy enough, but I love eating and going to the pub, so I've always had a bit of a belly. I've learned to be happy with how I look as it comes with the territory of what I enjoy doing and don't want to stop doing the things I love just to be skinny. My parents have always been health freaks and make unsubtle comments about my weight, and my ex was clear about her dislike of body hair, so for years I felt like I had to hide how I looked in order to avoid comments and advice on how to get skinny so I can be happier. I was skinny growing up and I was miserable. Now I'm big and happy, but my parents can't comprehend that. I met someone 6 months ago who genuinely loves me exactly as I am, actively tells me to keep myself hairy, and reminds me daily that she loves my belly and doesn't want it to go unless that will make me happier, and to never change it because I think that's what she wants and deserves. Alexa, stop. I'm not sure why I'm posting this. I think it just feels incredible to have someone who loves me as I am and doesn't want me to change because I'm happy with who I am now. After so many years of fighting against those around me, I feel so lucky to be with someone who wants me to be happy, no matter the shape that takes. I really like this and I really like body positivity, and I think it's important for everybody to be comfortable in their own bodies. I will say that my body isn't quite where I want it to be, but Leo is always really encouraging with how I look. I am a fairly chubby person and I'm also very hairy, but Leo is always like super positive about how my body is and always like compliments me and I don't know, makes me feel better about how I look. So I think I've definitely been more comfortable in my own body since dating Leo, so that's great. I hope I've had a similar effect on Leo, but yeah, just all in all, body positivity is great, and I think it's too normalized, and it is definitely something that is changing in younger generations, that people make comments about weight, and I think it's because previous generations have had such this focus on being skinny. I mean, if you look at it like back to the 90s, for example, and you look in magazines, people were incredibly thin, and not like thin but have muscle mass, like thin, right? And that was considered attractive, but that's not really healthy. And like, if someone is happy with their body like that, then like all the power to them, you know? But also, we shouldn't be making comments to people who have more body weight saying like, you could be thin if you do this, or like, I don't know. I even think that telling someone that they look like they've lost weight is like not something that you should really be saying. Just all in all, I think this is something that has been changing with younger generations, that we recognize that like, hey, enforcing weird body views and like this weird concept of certain bodies are attractive and certain bodies aren't is just a wholly unhealthy view for everyone involved. So changing that and the way it's been developing and changing is like genuinely a really good thing, and I think think for so many people, it's so much easier on their mental health because this societal pressure is so much lighter. And that's not to say it's completely gone. We still have a ways to go, but I definitely think that we've been improving it, you know? But we've definitely had certain caveats and certain things come in that are just as bad. Like, I don't think you can now look at a single magazine and not see someone who has had large amounts of surgery to make their body a certain way, which once again is enforcing unhealthy or unrealistic like beauty views. But we've definitely improved, you know? And I think it's important to spread body positivity. It's important to tell people that they look good how they look, because it's exhausting to be someone who thinks they're unattractive, and it's just unhealthy. It's bad for everyone involved. And yeah, I don't even know what point I'm making anymore. Body positivity is great. Let's do more of that. I'm eloping with my partner of over 5 years. Only he and his parents know, and I can't tell anyone, so I'm sharing it here. So for context, I have a pretty large family, 4 older brothers, and I'm the youngest/only girl, and pretty dominating and strict parents. My fiance is an absolute gem, but my mother has become so controlling over my life that no matter how happy I'll be in my marriage, she's scared to lose her last/only child left in her empty nest. She also has a lot of internalized misogyny, having grown up in India, which definitely doesn't help. My fiance and I are both of South Asian origin, and we had our engagement ceremony this past September, which is a pretty big deal in our culture. My mother made it so incredibly clear that she didn't want this to happen, giving off a lot of negativity during the ceremony because she would have no one left to control. And I think it finally sunk in for her that I would be leaving her nest. And she's done a damn good job at controlling me. She has said time and time again how good of a boy he is and how his parents are good people, but she's also too scared to let go of me. So my fiance and I are simply eloping. No one on my side knows, and only his parents know on his side. I'm overwhelmed, but I also feel like I can't do it any other way. And I also want this marriage more than anything in the world. We've been talking about marriage for years, long before we officially got engaged, and I know this is what I want. At the same time, I do know that I'm going to hurt my family by keeping this from them, and I harbor a lot of guilt for it. I just can't share this with anyone, so I'm sharing it here. Edit. This is probably a little pathetic, but I'm tearing up reading all the congratulations from all of you internet strangers. Thank you all so much. It makes me feel like I have some sort of support, even if it's from people I don't know. Edit 2. A few people have mentioned this, and I have started therapy a few weeks back to learn to heal from everything going on in my life and learn how to stand up for myself. I appreciate all of your cares and concerns. Edit 3. A couple people have asked about my dad, and I have to say that he has nothing to do with this. He's disabled, and I honestly can't put anything on him. If anything, I feel like he would be the voice of reason for my mum, but because of his current physical and mental condition, he cannot. Once again, this is a really difficult situation for OP, and I think they're probably doing the right and best thing for themselves, because being in a controlling relationship or a controlling environment isn't going to be healthy for them. It's not going to be good for their relationship with their husband and the mum. Controlling parents are not great, and escaping that is going to be better for the mental health of OP, I think. And like, yeah, they're gonna feel guilty about that, but they shouldn't, you know? That kind of guilt is something that has been put on them by an overbearing, controlling parent, and it's something that they really need to overcome, because they shouldn't feel guilty about living their own life, you know? That should be something they can do. So all the power to OP for doing this. I really hope it's gonna go well for them. I really hope they live the best life they can live. Thumbs up from me. And the final post. It is not a child's responsibility to keep up the relationship with their parents. I haven't talked to my dad in 3 years now. He's never called, asked about me, or anything. Occasionally my mum will say, "Dad isn't a phone person. You know how he is. You should call first." I did for years. I moved in 2012 and last spoke to him in 2020 when I called last. I have a half brother from his first wife, and he never tried to reach out, and he blames his son, who he left at 8 years old, for not maintaining the relationship. When I was a child that made sense to me, but as a 31-year-old, that is garbage reasoning. I hate it. I hate him. I feel bad for Chris for never having a dad. I feel bad for me for having one, but him mom also not existing. It usually doesn't bother me, but sometimes I get so upset about it. My sister still lives at home, and so he is present and caring, and she still thinks I'm dramatic about all of this. So I think this is a situational one, right? OP's situation is distinctly an issue with the dad. It's obvious, right? The dad doesn't reach out to any of his children. But I also think that it's not solely the parents' responsibility to communicate with their children and keep up a relationship. Like, relationships are a two-way street, right? Obviously, OP here said they were doing all the work to keep the relationship. They stopped and that relationship ended because the dad did nothing. And that's on the dad. But in a healthy relationship, the parent and the child should be doing just as much to keep that relationship maintained as each other, you know? It should be a 50-50 thing. It's not really on any single person to maintain that. However, it can be the fault of a single person to let that slide. And in the case of this one, it was very much the dad's fault for letting that fall away, who then goes and blames other people. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say on that one, which is where I'm going to end the video. So I hope you have enjoyed. This was an interesting one. Some really heavy posts there. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click on that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. Special thank you to all of the people that do support me. All of you are incredible, wonderful, amazing people. It genuinely means so much. So thank you to everyone that contributes. I've mentioned this before, but like, the money that comes from YouTube pays our electricity bill. So thank you to everybody that does support. It means so much. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.